that is, I guess, the most popular breed. Everybody wants a golden retriever. But in my opinion, don't get a golden retriever unless, and I have a list of things, but why should or should you not get a golden retriever? That's what we're going to talk about to Sam and this little thing SOUL. I'm not going to take her full name because I think she's too clingy, Sam. Tell us the breed qualities of a golden retriever.
What do you want me to talk about first? What you should keep in mind as negatives or positives?
First, tell me, why are people nowadays so crazy about golden retrievers?
They are cuddle balls, they look like teddy bears, they are the perfect sort of representation of what an animal's love looks like in a family setting. And to that extent, people are crazy after golden retrievers, and very rightly so.
Okay. So, Soul, come here. So, Soul, of course, is the darling of the house. She is spoiled like anything. I think, in my opinion, she's the most spoiled dog I've ever met. But with face like that, I guess you can get away with it. Now, tell us why one should get a golden retriever.
Because one, they're very strong, very hardy breeds. Anytime you decide to get a breed, other than breed characteristics, you also need to understand.
Come, Babu. So, come to.
They also need to, come from a good genetic pool. And the problem, with a lot of breeds in India is the genetic pool is not as rich. Golden retrievers have a very rich genetic pool. Some great dogs in the past have been imported, and there is enough genetic diversity. So they are they come from a robust gene pool, and they're very adaptable to a family. So you won't be able to.
I know she's heavy, so that's one huge pet peeve for me, that I cannot manage her because she's too heavy for me. How?
She would be about. She's a large.
Would you like to share? Because I think he does not like to share.
She would be touching about 40 kilos at the moment, but she's on a weight reduction plan because she's my mother's dog, and to that extent, is a child to her, and to that. Bas. Sit down. Sitting. Good boy. So my mother's dog, and is largely overweight. They're very, very hungry dogs. They're generally, they have no ration control. And so if you feed them more, they will keep eating till the time they essentially grow very fat. So that's a problem. So
we were talking about why you should get.
Why you should get them is because you're extremely loving, very affectionate, intelligent animals. They understand exactly what works in a setting, and they will give you that. So no two golden retrievers would ever be alike, because they will be very strong representation, mirror images of their owners. So this one is fat, oversized, indisciplined. That is representative of our family.
No, not all of us.
Yeah, most of them.
You are a representation of our family. No, you have a personality of your own. Okay, so most of the times we see that people who have children, they say that I'd like to get a baby.
That is where I would rather, put people to a level of circumspection. If your children are too young, you should think before getting a golden retriever, because they're selfish dogs. When I say selfish, their food, their eating, their play will come before the child's play. And as a result of which, if your child is very, very young, you should be thinking again before getting a golden retriever. If you've got a 10-year-old child, it's a different ballgame altogether. Okay? So for very, very young children in the house, they will always require supervision around a golden retriever, because one tail wag can only throw off a child.
Yeah, that is true.
So overall also, it is not as though they can't figure out from where to go and where to come back from. They will generally end up doing what they want to please themselves more than to please the family, right? And to that extent, they are slightly selfish in their. So come in. Sit down.
So that is understood.
Sit down.
So I think that comes from the fact that they tend to have strong personalities. So
very strong
personality. So they become like that, I guess. Okay, so that's a very important tip. So if you want something that's more malleable, that you will be able to control, I guess you do not get because we have seen instances where you take the dog out for an outing, and you've seen golden retrievers just going berserk in the barish monsoon, going into the teacher, those kind of.
They're playful dogs, no doubt about it. But lot of times what people do not understand or consider is, looking at them, they look like giant goofballs. If you were to ever compare a well-bred golden retriever's paw with anything else in the dog kingdom, you would actually be surprised at how strong these dogs are. Just because they are diminutive and they are they're just being goofy around the house does not mean they're exactly that. They're very, very physically strong dogs. If you have to take them for a walk, they have very high exercise requirements. They have very high nutritional requirements because of the coat. Their temperature control has to be done very differently because the extreme summers sometimes are very taxing on golden retrievers. So you will see some level of skin allergies, breakouts, those kind of things also.
Your bijli ka bill is going to go high, electricity bill.
Ideally, yes.
You
They
need to put it in a
Absolutely.
You cannot be
even if not in an AC, actually, they constantly have to figure out ventilation needs. You have to understand that they have to be cleaned in a certain way because they have a double coat. Their skin can be smelly sometimes. There's a lot
of high grooming needs.
And also when we were talking about children, you have to figure out if your children have allergies, because if they do, then golden retrievers are going to participate.
I don't think it's visible in the video,
Yeah.
but within these 2 minutes there are at least 1,000 hairs.
It's part and parcel. I'm not discouraging anybody to get one. I love them, but they come at a certain cost.
Forget about wearing black. Ensure that all your upholstery is neutral colored, and you need to invest in a good vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
These are some basic things that will have to be done if you want a golden
No,
retriever.
also Anjali, you have to tell your viewers about the dietary requirements. The dietary requirement of a golden retriever is very different to most other breeds. So a golden retriever, because they have also very weak follicles, so the hair drops a lot. So it's not only as though it's a very hairy dog, but unlike say a Tibetan Mastiff,
It sheds more.
a Tibetan Mastiff or a Caucasian Shepherd who have stronger protein-based hair follicles, a golden retriever's coat is very soft, very childlike. You touch it, it'll drop. You touch it, it'll drop. So it can cause very strong, allergic reactions amongst children. The PM 2.5, PM 5, those kind of things that we talk about. There will always be dust in the house because they catch dust and then they keep throwing it around. It's a fact. You can keep them as clean as you want to, but there's a key difference there. One, you need to be aware of it. Then very, very importantly, dietary requirements. If you want the coat to be healthy and everything, the investment in omega-3, 6 is going to be very high. Think of it like this, which is the most expensive fruit that you know. I would know of the avocado. Why? Yeah.
But healthy and
Yes. So, fruits, anything which is good fat is always very expensive. Anything. You talk of good quality ghee, you talk of cold pressed oils, anything which is a good source of seeds, nuts, anything which is high in good fat, omega-3, 6, 9, will inevitably be very expensive. As a result of which, they generally need high omega-3, 6, 9 diets. Even if they are on a home-fed diet, they need to be given a cold pressed oil, they need to be given good sources of fat. If they are on a kibble diet, an entry level, I wouldn't name a brand, but an entry level food will not make the cut.
popular brands.
No, not, popular is a different statement. In India, what is popular to what is popular in the West is vastly different. What I'm saying is entry level foods will not make the cut. Because there will just be a lot of corn and filler.
Okay, so basically you're trying to tell me that feeding and keeping this dog healthy is an expense.
It is. If you want to keep a golden retriever in the quality that he should be or she should be.
Yeah, because then they look beautiful only when their hair is flowing like dimple
Yes.
Kapadia and they're like
Yes.
crowning glory and everything.
A lot of it will be genetic because a lot of it comes as genetic material. And there is also something that you guys need to know about in golden retrievers. One, the prepotence to gain weight is high, as a result of which hip dysplasia incidences are very, very high. And
What is hip dysplasia?
hip dysplasia is where the rear joints of the hip essentially give way and the dog essentially experiences a lot of physical trouble in getting up,
Okay.
taking the stairs, up and down, those kind of things, right? So it is something.
I just want to activate her.
No, it's perfectly fine. She's doing what she needs to. She's going to pick up a fight with another dog.
Come
And
here.
if you think golden retrievers are not headstrong, it's something that I want to tell you. If golden retrievers do not like a certain dog or do not like a certain environment, the capability of actually getting into a fight is also very high because they're very headstrong dogs. So you need to really socialize them very,
Yes,
very well.
that was something surprising. Everybody thinks that golden retrievers are the most pleasing dogs and that
Yeah.
they would be the most mild and what is the other word for it?
Genial.
Genial dogs, yes, non-aggressive.
They're not aggressive, but you have to understand they would want to generally control canine environment. So if there are other dogs around you,
So they may be people pleasers.
they are huge people pleasers and they can get along with animals also very well, provided you socialize them well. And the other dogs are also extremely well socialized. In that environment, they do very well. Or if you have a submissive specimen, that is great too. But coming back to hip dysplasia, it's a very big problem amongst your dogs. because they're bred very, very frequently. It's a money-making machine for breeders, right?
Okay.
You have to check who the parents are, whether they're coming from, a reputed breeder of golden retrievers, and then you also have to identify before you do that activity actually is to understand what kind of a golden retriever you need, because the American and the English golden retriever are very, very different breeds to look
What
at.
is this?
So this is an American style golden retriever. A European golden retriever will essentially be very, very white in its coat. The coat will not be very, very long. It will be slightly shorter, very white looking golden retrievers, and the behavioral temperament, the skull structure, a lot of things will be very different. So a lot of times you will see people just breeding one to the other, and that really is good for genetic diversity, but what comes out nobody knows. So you need to figure out what kind of a dog you're getting. So you need to check with the breeder, go have a look at the parents, and thereafter take a call as to what kind of a dog.
Okay. What if I have elderly parents? Then they are perfect?
Yes, golden retrievers are very, very good, family dogs. They will love and find their space with everybody in the family. They're very, very good. However, they're strong dogs. So
Yes.
learn.
Look at the size of the paw of this dog.
Yeah.
Come. So show your paw.
They are the most.
Show your paw.
Yes.
Spoiled as I could. That's a
And I don't have very minute hands, but that is, look at that. So, and the bone, this is, she has a bigger wrist than Anjali's. So yeah, that's a fact. And they're very, very strong dogs. If you were to even look at their bite structure, look at this. If they want to bite, their bites are some of the very vicious bites that can happen. So good, if you were to get a golden retriever, please socialize your dog very, very early in life.
Yeah, that is, I think, something very important that you need to understand.
Yeah.
Because if this one turns bitey, she can really bite. She can make life miserable for whoever is antagonistic to this little.
The answer to any biting dog is give them a lot of exercise. They generally are, they're very high energy dogs that are essentially revolting to the lack of exercise that you've thrown them into. That is why dogs sort of turn bitey dogs. If you were to socialize them and give them a lot of exercise, no dog is a bitey dog. But yeah, golden retrievers, if they want, they really hold their ground very well in a fight. So yeah.
Yeah, we've had a situation where this one decided to fight with a gaddi,
Yes.
a Ladakhi gaddi dog.
Yeah.
And imagine, I don't know if you know about Ladakhi gaddis, but imagine what our situation was. We had to separate this huge animal and that huge animal, and it was not an easy job, and she did not back down. So
Yeah.
I think that is also important. You should be able to control your dog.
That is true for any breed. Any dog that you get, please understand, see somebody living with that dog. Try to take a road trip with them to see how this dog travels, how this dog eats. It's that kind of stuff. So it's never one shoe size fits all. So yeah, golden retrievers are great dogs. They adjust very well in small spaces as well, but they will require regular walks in the mornings and evenings. And diet control, portion control is very important. And macros need to be sorted, otherwise they become very fat.
One quick question: grooming requirement? How
High.
many days a week do they need to?
Any dog will require grooming twice a day. Period. Whatever.
Which is full kangi,
So
hair removal.
So you have to understand, actually a short-haired dog does not mean that you don't give them that grooming. That grooming is still required twice a day. It's just easier.
Less work.
It is easier. In a golden retriever.
You just got his head.
So in a golden retriever, you'll have to brush regularly. You will have to see that there are no wet spots under the coat, because that will then turn into a fungal infection. So it's just
Are they
those
prone to fungal infections?
It depends on the environment they are living in.
Let's say in a city like Delhi,
Yeah.
versus a city like Cochin, which is high on humidity.
They generally don't do very well around humidity. That's a given.
Okay.
But it's not as though you should not keep them. They're one of the most malleable breeds to be kept across India. I am just saying you need to be very, very vigilant of what they are doing, what their skin looks like. It is not an activity you can outsource. Which means that once he or she, your golden retriever goes for grooming every 15 days and comes back, in the pink of its health, that will not happen. It has to happen on an everyday basis. You have to monitor their skin, eyes, teeth, gums, paws constantly. They will go out, they will catch an infection, they will bring it will breed into their skin, you will have yeast infections, fungal infections, those kind of things will happen. So you need to be very mindful of that. And you have to be comfortable with hair on your clothes, in your house, everywhere. So, yeah.
So you have to be not just, comfort with the fact that they shed hair, then you have to be comfortable with the fact that you're bringing in a life in in your routine, in your house, and your life, which will take a lot of time and attention from you. So be prepared for that. Be prepared to give your time and attention because that life deserves it. That don't you think so?
100%.
So be mindful of that.